Commerce nationalisation. 1. Nationalisation. This is a system where the government may decide to take over control of certain ventures previously owned by private individuals, private sector. This took place in Uganda in 1971 during the late Idi Amin's regime after declaring an economic war. After expelling the Asians from Uganda, most of their industries and most of their businesses were taken by the government, e.g. now breweries, Victoria Bottling Company, etc. However, when the NRM government came into power, these industries were given back to their owners. Privatization. This refers to the policy of converting ownership of government-owned enterprises to private individuals or firms. In this case, the government converts public enterprises into private undertaking by selling them to private individuals or firms, e.g. UBT UP to Stanbic Bank. Forms of privatization. The forms of privatization include the following. A complete privatization. Here the government decides to totally sell off all its shares in her own enterprise to private individuals, i.e. it no longer holds the rights of ownership and control over such a privatized enterprise. B. Partial privatization. Here the government sells part of the enterprise or can sell some of the shares to private individuals or firms and remains with some of the shares in the enterprise, i.e. 51% of shares. E.g. Mulego Hospital, Makara University, etc. C. Privatization by contract. The government can sell only the services, but the overall control and ownership of the enterprise remains to the government but can contract. Commerce nationalisation. 2. Deprivatization by service. The government can sell off the enterprise to private firms or individuals such that ownership and control of all services is left in the hands of private firms, e.g. Uganda Telecom, Uganda Breweries, etc. Denationalisation. The government may decide to return the enterprise to its rightful owners, e.g. the Asian properties returned by NRM. F. Leasing out. This is where the government gives ownership and control of public enterprises to private firms for a specified period of time, and after the expiry of the period such enterprises are repossessed by the government, e.g. national parks like Kaidpo National Park, Queen Elizabeth National Park, etc. G. Contracting management. This is where the government leaves the management of public enterprises to private individuals and investors while retaining ownership over such enterprises, for example Sheraton Hotel to Sheraton Hotel International. Reasons for privatization advantages. QNY. May the government privatize public enterprises to encourage competition among firms. This leads to production of improved quality of goods and services, to reduce government expenditure on some ventures which are not making profits, to enable firms operate efficiently due to close supervision common with the private sector, to expand the tax base since private firms are charged taxes, to promote easy decision-making and reduce unnecessary bureaucracy common in public enterprises, to create employment opportunities in order to reduce an unemployment burden, to reduce on corruption and embezzlement of funds by government managers, to attract foreign investors who bring in foreign revenue to the country. Commerce nationalisation. 3. People are exploited by overcharging them and selling to them poor quality goods and services. Expansion of such enterprises is limited, especially under partial privatization. The existence of private enterprises largely depends on the life of the owner, i.e. once the owner dies, the business collapses. It leads to loss of jobs to some workers due to retrenchment. Profits made in the foreign-owned enterprises are reinvested in their home countries, but not in the local country, i.e. profit repatriation. Monopoly power tend to develop due to stiff competition as some firms are outcompeted, which is undesirable in the economy. Private investors can influence the political atmosphere in the country for personal benefits. Private firms may not easily external loans, therefore may not easily expand. Factors hindering privatization in Uganda. Corruption in the privatization unit. There is lack of transparency in the sale of some of the public enterprises because some government officials ask for bribes from potential buyers, some abandoned to buy. Opposition from the public. Number of shareholders fear that privatization leads to loss of economic control to foreigners. This discourages the potential buyers. Poor valuation of public enterprises that are on sale. Some state enterprises have been undervalued, which leads to loss to the government. Poor state of the public enterprises. Some state enterprises are in very sorry state, making it hard to sell them. Lack of well-developed money and capital markets. This has hindered the process through floating these shares to the public. Political sabotage. This is mainly by opposition politicians who have discouraged the potential buyers or to campaign the process or blocking bills in Parliament aimed at privatization. Commerce nationalisation. 4. Presence of unscrupulous/dishonest buyers. These are non-credible buyers who buy these enterprises without the intention of developing them, but only to make quick gains. and disappear. Small market for goods and services. There is a small domestic market due to low purchasing power, which discourages potential buyers due to low profits. Political insecurity. Some enterprises are in politically unstable areas, hence scaring away potential buyers for fear of loss of lives and property. Ideological differences. There are conflicting objectives among the policymakers where some are inclined to a government-led economy while others a private-led economy. This has led to delay in decision-making concerning the sale of such enterprises. Government involvement in commerce. Reasons why the government gets involved in commerce. To take up ventures which are not profitable but very important to the public and are always ignored by private sectors. To avoid regional imbalances and income inequality by redistributing economic ventures in all parts of the country. To finance enterprises that require large sums of capital, which cannot be raised by the private sector. To provide employment opportunities in the country in order to reduce unemployment, burden, and poverty. In order to reduce monopolism in the private sector, which may exploit the public. In order to handle sensitive ventures, which cannot be left in the hands of private individuals, e.g., the police. To get revenue from projects so as to finance other development projects. The government may also get involved in commerce as an attempt to improve on the balance of payment by producing goods and services that were formerly imported. Revision questions. 1. Define the term privatization. 2. Outline the forms of privatization. 3. Give advantages and disadvantages of privatization.